An elven mother urgently hides her small child in a dark space, whispering for her to be absolutely silent. She frames the terrifying situation as a game of hide-and-seek to soothe the child's fear as a door is slammed shut. The child, Arwin, whispers her fear about the scary sounds from outside and asks what her mother will do. Her mother puts a finger to her lips, gently shushing her and promising to return when it is safe. As the door clunks shut, the child flinches at another loud bang from outside. Alone in the darkness, Arwin calls out for her mother. She peers through a crack, wondering if someone is there. She clings to her mother's last words, telling herself to wait until she is told it is okay. Outside the hiding spot, her mother lies slain on the floor, a hulking figure standing over her. The creature sniffs the air, detecting a new scent. It grins menacingly as it discovers Arwin's hiding spot, its large hand reaching for the door. Suddenly, a young man slams into the creature. He grabs its head, neutralizing the immediate threat as Arwin winces. The terrified Arwin can only stare and ask who her rescuer is. The young man, Hatton, introduces himself, explaining that he came to help. Arwin, crying, asks where her mother is. Hatton apologizes, telling her it is dangerous and they must get outside. He picks her up, urging her to hold on tight. With the child secure, he kicks off, determined to quickly get to a safe place. Hatton tells Arwin to close her eyes as they face the enemy. The creatures decide to count to 10 together. Hatton grimly accepts the challenge and announces they will begin. He counts 1 as he dodges and weaves through the attackers. He continues to 2, moving swiftly with Arwin clutched in his arm. He leaps over a large enemy, continuing his count to 4 and 5. At 6, he cleaves through another creature with his axe. The count reaches 8 and 9 as he dispatches more foes. By the count of 10, he has left a trail of destruction behind him, escaping into the distance. Having escaped, Hatton reassures Arwin that they should be safe now, though they still need to reach the town. He introduces himself as Hatton, and she tells him her name is Arwin. They stop by a stream to rest and clean up. Hatton carries the tired child on his back as they continue through the rustling woods. Hatton spots something in the trees. He asks a hungry Arwin if she has ever eaten nashiel fruit. He rustles through the leaves to pick some. He offers a piece to Arwin, who quietly accepts. They both munch on the fruit. Tears well up in Arwin's eyes and begin to fall. The simple act of kindness breaks through her shock, and she softly calls for her mother. Arwin cries herself to sleep. Later that night, Hatton sits by a crackling fire, watching over the exhausted child. Arwin rests, tear tracks still visible on her face. Arwin dreams of a happier time, a warm meal at the table where her mother playfully scolds her for eating too soon. As she sleeps by the fire, she murmurs for her mama. The next morning, Hatton asks Arwin if she is ready to go. Arwin marvels at a huge mountain, which Hatton notes is a dangerous area. Arwin excitedly points out a birdie by the water. Suddenly, they are attacked by aggressive bird-like creatures, forcing Hatton to grab Arwin and flee. After escaping, Hatton catches his breath, telling Arwin's toy they got rid of the birds. Finally, Hatton points out their destination, the town. Arwin is in awe of the massive city nestled in the mountains. Upon entering, she is overwhelmed by the bustling crowds. Hatton notices her distress and takes her hand to make sure she is okay. Hatton leads Arwin to a large building, telling her it is a safe place. Inside, someone recognizes Hatton and welcomes him back. A receptionist asks him to give his report. He reports that over 50 demi-human bandits have attacked villages, with Arwin as the only survivor he found, and urges for an immediate extermination mission. Insisting there is no time to rest, Hatton tells the receptionist he wants to take on the quest immediately. He asks her to look after Arwin. The woman kindly greets the little elf and asks if she is hungry. Hatton pats Arwin's head, saying he will see her later and that he is going now. As Hatton pats her head, Arwin's eyes fill with tears. She cries out in protest, clinging to him. She begs him not to go, wondering what she should do. As Hatton walks away, another guild member tries to comfort the distraught child, assuring her that she will see him again. Arwin struggles to compose herself. She breaks free from the guild members and runs away. She slips past a closing door. She bursts out into the street, calling Hatton's name. Hatton stops as Arwin asks if he will come back. He turns, smiles softly, and promises that he will. He walks away into the crowd of adventurers. His expression hardens with resolve as Arwin watches him go. Amidst the clang of a forge, a young woman in goggles approaches Hatton, asking if he is the one she's heard about. She introduces herself as Kiri, a blacksmith who has heard rumors of his strength and is clearly impressed. Getting straight to the point, she asks about his weapon and offers to forge a new one for him. Before Hatton can respond, a large man appears, bonking Kiri on the head and telling her to move. Hatton ignores the commotion and hands the man a newly finished weapon and a piece of armor, chiding him for not taking better care of his gear. The large man gratefully accepts, telling Hatton he owes him one as he departs. Kiri, still on the ground, complains to the older man, frustrated that he will not let her take on any orders herself, but he bluntly refuses. Watching Hatton's back, Kiri's curiosity takes over, and she asks the old man how he knows Hatton, noting that he rarely accepts custom orders. The old man does not answer, lost in a memory of a terrifying moment when Hatton fought off a monstrous beast. In the flashback, he recalls clutching his child, helpless as Hatton saved them. As Hatton stands in the doorway asking what he needs, the old man can only think of him as his benefactor. Hatton stands resolute, dual axes in hand, ready for the dangers that lie ahead. A man from the guild delivers a small elf girl to a new home, confirming with the caretaker that word of their arrival has been received. The caretaker, Clarel, reassures him that the girl is in good hands. The man entrusts the young girl, Arwin, to Clarel's care. As the man waves goodbye, Arwin bids him a quiet farewell. Clarel formally introduces herself to Arwin. She reveals that she is a half-elf, which catches Arwin by surprise. Clarel decides that before anything else, Arwin needs a bath. She explains that not washing properly can lead to sickness as she scrubs the protesting girl. Clarel rinses the soap from Arwin's hair with a splash. After the bath, Clarel presents a clean and fluffy Arwin. She then happily shows Arwin to her new room. Clarel tells Arwin that she will be nearby in the next room. She encourages Arwin to rest, promising to come get her when dinner is ready. For comfort, Clarel leaves the door open as she departs. Arwin stands alone in the room, clutching her small companion. She quietly listens to the sounds from outside the window. Alone in the empty room, Arwin stands in silence. She gives her plush toy, Poru, a gentle squeeze. Overwhelmed with loneliness, she whispers her desire to see her mother and return home. Suddenly, two other children appear, startling Arwin. The cat girl, Nayu, introduces herself and asks for Arwin's name, while Ben scolds her for tracking mud inside. Ben introduces himself, and Nayu excitedly invites Arwin to play with them after lunch. Arwin quietly agrees to their invitation. Nayu expresses her excitement to have another girl to play with, teasing Ben in the process. Ben suggests they play hide-and-seek, and Arwin agrees. The suggestion triggers a dark, terrifying memory for Arwin. The memory overwhelms Arwin, and she begins to cry. Her sudden breakdown confuses Nayu and Ben. Clarel arrives, announcing that dinner is ready. Seeing Arwin in tears, Clarel rushes to her side and sends the other two children ahead. Clarel asks if Nayu did something wrong, but Ben nervously says he does not think so. Clarel holds Arwin, realizing the girl's trauma is far worse than she had been led to believe. She knows that for now, the only thing she can do is stay with Arwin and watch over her. Clarel silently empathizes, knowing something of the pain the young girl is experiencing. Clarel looks on with quiet resolve, hopeful for the future. She believes that someday, Arwin will find the strength to stand back up on her own. She is certain that day of recovery and newfound strength will come. Scouter Rizray, 19 years old, regains consciousness after fainting. 2 years into her career as an adventurer, just as she was getting used to the life, it seems to be coming to an abrupt and terrifying end as she finds herself surrounded by monstrous demi-humans. Her mind flashes back to half an hour earlier, when she was on scouting duty for her party, and spotted an enemy's silhouette. Believing it was just a single demi-human, she sent a signal to alert her companions. Though it had a scary face and looked strong, she underestimated the threat, thinking there was not much it could do alone. Letting her guard down, she was suddenly struck from the side. She was sent flying, shocked that she hadn't even noticed something sneaking up on her. As her consciousness faded, she could see her comrades arriving to help. They were a party of well-known veterans, but even they were overwhelmed, with one shouting a warning as 3 of them were taken down in an instant. The simple scouting mission turned into a massacre, with her entire party wiped out by just 2 demi-humans, leaving her to question if it was her responsibility. Ever since becoming an adventurer, she thought her luck had been good and that she was doing well. She had always believed that dying like this was something that only happened to other people. Now, facing her own end, she wonders if she would have been better off staying in her village, even if it meant begging to survive. Just as the smaller monster moves in to finish her, the larger demi-human behind it suddenly collapses, struck down by an unseen attacker. Before the smaller creature can react, a massive hammer swings through the air and smashes it to pieces. The attack splatters blood over a horrified Rizray. Stunned and tearful, Rizray looks up, wondering who this person could be. She marvels that she couldn't even perceive his movements, questioning if he is even human, as a battered young man stands before her, panting heavily. The mysterious man checks if she can still move, and she confirms that she can, somehow. Relieved, he instructs her to find somewhere to hide and wait for the guild to arrive. He gives a final warning not to go toward the town before departing. Rizray is left bewildered by the stranger who was just passing by. The reality of her situation sinks in. She is saved, but everyone else is dead. Alone amidst the carnage, she sobs, questioning if she should quit being an adventurer altogether. A few days ago, the village of Normia was a picture of peace. A young girl named Mei Chan greeted an older elf, Prisan, on her way to run an errand. Mei Chan explained that she was helping her grandmother who had fallen and couldn't walk since her father was out of town. Prisan warmly praised the child for her kindness. Normia was a quiet village where dozens of elves and half-elves lived simple, daily lives. But the peace they had carefully built was about to be shattered. Their tranquility was destroyed by senseless violence, leaving utter devastation in its wake. The brutality ended, leaving bodies strewn across the ground. The attack was over as quickly as it started. A formidable masked leader stood amidst his horde, having left behind a completely destroyed village. Into the smoldering ruins arrives Hatton, a lone warrior armed with massive cleavers. The village is still crawling with the monstrous creatures. They surround a fallen adventurer, ready to strike. But Hatton intervenes, his presence drawing their attention. A goblin is startled by his sudden appearance. The monsters turn their attention to the newcomer. Hatton inhales deeply and prepares to strike. He launches himself forward, cutting down the first creature in a spray of blood. After dispatching another foe, Hatton faces the horde. Catching his breath, he realizes their numbers have increased and wonders if they are coming from somewhere else. He resolves to put that thought aside for now. His only goal is to take out all of them. He spots a crossbow among their ranks. He notes that this group is well organized, like an actual army. He charges into the fray, a whirlwind of destruction. From the shadows emerges a new, more imposing figure. The smaller goblins part to make way for their hulking, masked leader. Hatton continues his relentless assault, facing down two more monsters. He dispatches multiple enemies with a single spinning strike. But another leaps down from above, forcing him to keep fighting. He parries and dodges, continuing the onslaught. All the while, the masked leader watches on. The leader finally steps forward, brandishing a massive sword and shield. Hatton charges through the remaining goblins to meet him. He swings his weapon with all his might. The force of the blocked impact startles him. His attack is effortlessly blocked by the leader's shield. Hatton braces himself for the counterattack. The leader is incredibly fast, striking Hatton and shattering a piece of his armor. The blow sends him flying backward. He scrambles to his feet, narrowly avoiding another devastating blow. The two warriors clash, their weapons meeting with tremendous force. Hatton dodges and weaves, narrowly avoiding the leader's powerful swings. They continue to trade blows in a deadly dance. Hatton realizes this opponent is strong, far different from the others. He braces himself, preparing for the creature's next move. The leader swings his massive blade down with ferocious intent. Hatton focuses, ready to meet the attack. He parries the blow, the resulting impact shaking the very ground beneath them. The leader's blade shatters against Hatton's weapon. Surprised, Hatton looks up, seeing an opening. He peers from behind his massive cleaver. The battlefield is littered with the bodies of the slain monsters. Exhausted, Hatton stands panting, steam rising from his body as he wonders if that was the last of them. He scans the carnage, wondering if there are any others. He sees no other movement among the bodies. After a moment, he wipes his brow. He walks through the ruins with purpose. He stops before a specific house, certain it is the one he's looking for. He pushes open the door and steps inside the dark house. To his surprise, he finds the woman's body has been moved, and he wonders how she could have survived her injuries. He then notices a faint, magical light. He realizes its source, a spirit floating beside her. He recognizes her as an Eldrasil, an ancient elf, and questions her presence in the village. Gently, he closes her eyes. He promises to take her to her daughter. Carrying her body, he leaves the ruined village behind. Hatton arrives in another town. A small elf girl sits alone, clutching a toy. He calls out her name, Arwin. Her eyes widen in recognition. She happily calls out his name, Hatton. Arwin asks if he wants to go home and if the monsters are still there, wondering if her mama ran away. Nearby, at a makeshift relief center, an official confirms the identity of Arwin's mother. The staff struggles to manage the dead, calling for blankets as they've run out of coffins, as Arwin asks if her mama is sleeping. The scene is one Hatton has seen countless times in his own hazy memories. He watches Arwin cry, asking why her mother will not wake up, and thought he had worn down his own grief. He feels the exhaustion of the past few days weigh heavily on him. As Arwin cries for her mama, Hatton is lost in thought. He finds himself remembering an old memory. A kind, hooded woman approaches, noticing he is bleeding and asking if he is okay, as he reflects that his memory is not as foggy as usual. He is struck by how strangely vivid the memory is. The memory surfaces, a small, tearful girl asking her brother about their mother. Hatton's expression is blank as the memory plays out. In the present, Arwin calls for her mama to wake up. She turns to Hatton for an answer. A gentle hand seems to rest on Arwin's head. Hatton kneels before the child and apologizes, telling her that he was unable to save her mother. Arwin's face crumples in grief. A woman's voice from his memory calls the name Arwin. Arwin's grief bursts forth in a heart-wrenching cry. A powerful aura of light erupts from her, swirling around both her and the stunned Hatton. Far away, a group of mages senses the light, with one reporting that it's the second rampage of this magnitude, which will force the elves to act. A woman is addressed as the revered mage. She looks toward the source of the powerful aura. She feels a sense of familiarity, trying to place where she knows it from. Arwin continues to weep. Hatton stands before the official, the child beside him, as they make arrangements. She is inconsolable, calling for her mama. A small elf child named May runs frantically through a dark forest, panting for breath. She knows her village is overrun with monsters, and she cannot go back. A memory flashes through her mind, an elf woman, Arl-san, and a muscular creature urging her to get away and find help as another monster looms over them. The memory gives way to the present as a hulking orc bursts from the trees, causing May to scream in terror. Arl-san's desperate plea to hurry echoes in her ears. Crying out in fear, May continues to flee from the pursuing monsters. In her haste, her small foot catches on a loose rock. She stumbles, falling hard onto the stony ground. Alone and hurt, May lies on the ground, tears streaming down her face. She whimpers, calling out for her papa and granny as a large shadow falls over her. She looks up to see the terrifying orc standing right behind her. As the monster reaches for her, she cries out, pleading for it to stop. Before the orc can grab her, a sword slices through its back, causing the monster to shriek in pain. A female warrior appears, declaring this is payback, and that the monsters do not deserve mercy. The warrior turns to the startled child, asking if she is from Normia village. When May confirms she is, the warrior decides they should hide. They find shelter under a large tree. The warrior asks for the child's name, who quietly replies that she is Mayria. The warrior introduces herself as Rizray. Wincing in pain, Rizray tells Mayria to stay quiet, warning her that they will both be dead if they are discovered.